Should the BJP celebrate a victory? Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to serve a rare third term in office, but with a target of taking nearly 400 seats in parliament whittled down to just 240, the Hindu Nationalist Party loses its majority. So why has the BJP lost support, and how might a stronger opposition change the country? I'm Andrea Sankey, and today's Newsmaker is India. Well, usually in elections there are winners and losers, but in India right now, both the opposition and the ruling party have reason to celebrate. Both defied the polls. The opposition for the better, the BJP for the worse. Narendra Modi will likely remain prime minister, but without his majority government. And what many viewed as the BJP stronghold of Uttar Pradesh went to the opposition. So what happened to brand Modi? And why did the polls get it so wrong? Here's Samita Sharma with a look at the man who defined this election.
Narendra Damodar Das Modi, the first ever Prime Minister of India born post-independence, is looking at a rare third consecutive term in office. Though with numbers much below the magic 272 mark and not with an outright majority like in 2014 and 2019. The so-called Modi's Guarantee campaign slogan fell way short of the 400-seat goal projected for the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance.
Today's victory is the victory of the world's largest democracy.
Raised in Gujarat, Modi joined the RSS, the parent pro-Hindutva ideologue of the BJP in the early 70s. The rise of Modi as the polarizing Chief Minister of Gujarat to become Prime Minister in 2014 with a huge majority also shaped the growth of the BJP. From 2 seats in Parliament in 1984, it is a pan-India party beyond the Hindi-speaking northern states today. Post-2014, the BJP's dominance was shaped by Modi's personal appeal that combines unabashed Hindu nationalism and polarization to governance and welfare schemes.
You need to have a message which is sort of like tied to your ideological positioning. You need to have a broad social coalition on the ground. You need to have a decent performance record as a party that is in power. You need to have a messenger or a credible face which can take the message on the ground, a message to the people. And finally, you need a very robust organizational machinery which connects people to the leadership or to the message.
Modi wears Hindutva on his sleeve and hoped to ride high on the building of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya these elections. But he is accused of constantly fear-mongering against minorities in his divisive speeches. During the past 10 years, his government has been criticized for several decisions, such as demonetization, a migrant exodus caused by a sudden lockdown, dismal handling of the pandemic leading to loss of tens of thousands of lives, and crony capitalism promoting one top industrialist in particular. The 73-year-old controversial leader criticized for throttling free media, dialogue and dissent, and cracking down on opposition leaders in the country will have to work with a coalition government in his third term that may throw up challenges. The opposition led by Congress is claiming a moral victory and is warning Modi not to attack India's constitutional principles of secularism and federalism.
The reality is that Mr. Modi's divisive politics has been rejected by the people of this country. There is a very decisive message that the people of this country has given that, when you talk about Mujra, when you talk about Manga Sutra, when you talk about inane issues about people eating non-veg and things like that, that doesn't work. People were reeling under high prices. People were fed up with unemployment. People were fed up with rising levels of income inequality, and they have voted on that.
Once a pariah for the US-led West, Modi is today wooed on the world stage as a strong leader of a rising economy, seen as a counterbalance to China, and praised heavily for his leadership of the G20 summit last year. Modi's welfare schemes and appeal to women voters have helped the party make significant gains in several states. But the days ahead could be challenging if its regional allies decide to play kingmakers and call the shots. Murmurs of dissent within the party can also not be ruled out after Modi's decade-long, tightly held control over the BJP and the government. Smita Sharma, The Newsmakers, New Delhi, India.
So what for the future of India now with a less powerful BJP and an empowered opposition? Joining me now to debate that and more are all from the Indian capital, Delhi, senior BJP leader Sudhanshu Mittal, Indian National Congress spokesperson Lavanya Ballal and National Spokesperson for the Samajwadi Party, or SP, Ghanshyam Tiwari. Thanks all so much for being with me. Let's just establish first if this result truly reflects the will of the people, because there were many concerns beforehand, especially among the opposition, that the BJP was suppressing its rivals and therefore meddling in the vote. Sudhanshu Mittal, does this result reflect a fully free and fair election and perhaps even backlash against what was seen as opposition party suppression?
At least the greatest accomplishment of this election is that nobody will say the elections in India are not free and fair. Nobody will now blame the EVMs, which is the electronic voting machines, of having been rigged or susceptible to being rigged. This election is now, at least from the perspective of the Indian politicians, now this is the most free and fair election. Having said so, I'm so happy that the people of India has given NDA, which is a National Democratic Alliance, a mandate to rule for another 5 years. And as we say, in democracy, it's the rule of law, is the will of people. And people have expressed their will in no uncertain way by giving us a mandate which has overwhelmed the allies of the National Democratic Alliance.
It's a weakened mandate, but you still see it as a true victory and the will of the people.
Yes, it is the will of people, and that too in a free and fair election. Because the difference in terms of the will of people and the claims of the opposition is so substantial that there are no doubts as to what the people want in terms of the country.
Fair
as
enough.
to who should be ruling.
Okay, let me turn to Lavanya Ballal, because your party leader in part defined this election as a fight to defend the Constitution. So do you think those, constitutional issues were key in gaining the support that you saw at the polls? Did Indians feel that the Constitution was somehow under threat?
Absolutely, Andrea. I think that was one of the key issues, especially if you look at the states like Uttar Pradesh and a couple of other states in northern part of India. That was one of the key issues for the voters there, because we had multiple BJP MPs from the previous term who had commented about how if they cross the magic number of 400, they are going to change the Constitution of India. And I think the fear was real. What was very impressive is rural India wanted to be heard, and they made themselves heard in this election. Rahul Gandhi, our national leader, I think had spoken about Constitution multiple times. He, in fact, carried the Constitution of India with him wherever he went for a campaign. So India bloc was committed to the point that we will protect the Constitution. So for us, it was a battle to save the Constitution of India, and we are very happy with the results.
And you think that's what the people, in large part, those that supported your party and the other opposition parties voted for. But Ghanshyam, let's look at where your party, performed best. That is in Uttar Pradesh. Prime Minister Modi was very proud of opening the Grand Ram Temple in Ayodhya, which replaced a 16th century mosque a few months ago. Its inauguration was really turned into a national spectacle. But the BJP went on to lose Ayodhya. Do you think that was in part blowback for building that temple? Did it backfire on the BJP, or were there other issues in Uttar Pradesh that took precedence?
My greetings to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. Three things are important for the world to look at India from the lens of this election. One is that we are a resounding democracy with 970 million voters, of which over 620 million voters who have voted. This is the widest exercise of voting that has ever held in the history of the world. That's one. So we are a powerful democracy, and the expression of democracy is in this verdict, where BJP right from the very beginning was on the wrong step. Before the election was announced, they said "Ab ki baar 400 par," which basically meant that in a 543 seat assembly, they will have 400. This is even before the elections were announced. People found this arrogant. And throughout the election campaign, the Prime Minister went on talking about religious and often called hateful topics, which the people did not appreciate. On the other side, the opposition kept it very basic, very positive, that this is election to enable youth to find jobs, enable the poor to fight inflation, enable women to have their confidence back, especially with the allegations that have been there on leaders of BJP, to enable better social justice in India, especially due to the various injustices of the past, and to enable farmers to have better price for their produce. This is what we went into the election, and in this process, BJP miscommunicated to people that they wanted a 400 majority to change the constitution. As a result, they faced backlash where people across the country, particularly in Uttar Pradesh, said, we want to honor the constitution and we will ensure that BJP is defeated, particularly in Uttar Pradesh. Did the temple issue backfire for them? The answer is no. But the over-reliance of making temple issues as the only issue, people in India are religious, but they are also aspirational. BJP made temple issue as their only issue, and when they realized that they are on the wrong foot, instead of banking on an agenda of aspiration, they started banking on the agenda of divide and rule. And this is what people did not appreciate.
Okay, Sudhanshu, I've been seeing you wanting to get in. Go ahead.
It seems from the talk of the other two panelists that BJP is the vanquished and they are the victors, whereas the reality is the other way around. NDA is the victor and the others are the vanquished. They made all kind of false claims. They created a hysteria of the constitution will get changed. There will be reservation which will be struck down by the BJP. The OBCs, the scheduled castes will not get the reservations, which is fundamental to our constitutional belief that we have to have affirmative actions for the unequals. Now, this hysteria they created, yet they did not succeed. The opposition claimed at the end of the elections that they're going to get 295 seats. They landed up combined in the combined fashion to have less seats than the BJP. What to talk about the NDA? So, well, they raised their issues, but people of India have reposed their faith on the administrative capacity and what has been delivered by Mr. Narendra Modi as well as by the NDA. And they've reposed their faith on us. They have rejected the claims of the opposition of how the constitution will get amended and how rights will be taken away and how there is a serious threat to the constitution of this country. Look, India is a vibrant democracy and it's the rule of law which governs governance. The constitution is the holy Bible, and that Bible is sacrosanct for the entire polity. So it's for everybody.
Okay.
Now to say that this Bible will be desecrated was very, very, distressing for me personally, coming from a leader of the Congress party who took that Bible out and said, no, this will get desecrated. The truth is out in the open.
Okay.
It has never been desecrated except by the Congress party, which imposed emergency, which amended the constitution to incorporate certain provisions which were most unwanted.
Okay.
So it's so unfortunate that a false narrative was tried to be created, which was not believed by the people, and they voted for us.
Okay, Lavanya, I could see you also wanting to get in. I mean, you don't believe there was a false narrative created, from what I understand. And now the opposition has gained considerable power in its coalition. So tell us what you think we might see, if anything, we might see reversed with less BJP control. Could it be moves on Kashmir autonomy, the citizenship law? I mean, Indian Muslims have felt particularly aggrieved by a number of the changes that they feel occurred under the BJP.
Andrea, it's on record. Multiple BJP MPs who have spoken about how if we cross 400 seats in the Lok Sabha, that they will change the constitution. There is a difference between amendment and changing the constitution. And that is what we are talking about when our leaders spoke about. Amendment happens with the consent of the opposition party leaders as well once it gets passed as bills in the constitution. Whereas changing the constitution was something completely different that the BJP MPs have spoken multiple times, and it is on public records. Also, when we are talking about the changes that we might see in India, yes, with a stronger opposition and two allies who will, who if by in the next one day or 24 hours do agree to be a part of the NDA government, then the BJP, which is used to bullying its partners and opposition parties, will have to coordinate with the two coalition partners, and their opinions also matters, especially because they come from states where Chandrababu Naidu state has a huge amount of minority population. If we are planning on bringing the uniform civil code, I am sure that ally will have objections to that. Now, when it comes to Bihar as well, there are issues where that ally of the BJP, if they allies now, may not agree. So, this authoritarian um, behavior of the BJP will have to come down. The press freedom will increase. We do hope that the press in India will have more, freedom to express the news and not opinion pieces. And
Okay.
we do, there will be less hounding of citizens, concerned citizens. We do hope our farmers will not be jailed and farm laws will not be pushed through while opposition MPs' mics are switched off in the parliament. And this is what we are looking forward to.
Okay, Ghanshyam, I'd like to know also as well what you're looking forward to as far as what an empowered opposition might be able to undo in what they disagreed with under BJP legislation. Yeah, go ahead. And I saw you also wanting to comment on some earlier statements.
The first response of this fantastic verdict from people of India was a sigh of relief, a sense of that we can breathe freely. In a democratic country as large as India is, there are two things that people have grown up with. One is Satyamev Jayate, which is our motto, that truth always prevails. And second is unity in diversity. As a country, we celebrate our diversity. When a party says that they will score 400, they will be the singular source of power, singular source of truth, the expression of suffocation becomes visible. In parliament, the quality of debates suffer, the number of sittings of parliament suffer. In media feels the pressure and is unable to express the voice of citizens as the fourth pillar of democracy in a free and free format. In civil society, where civil society is not able to advocate for the poor and vulnerable, amongst the minorities, the diversity that we celebrate, amongst the women who have continued to remain a force that Indian democracy will further be strengthened with. So in different ways, when this verdict came, it became clear that this verdict asserts the democracy in India. We will see going forward that there will be more sittings in parliament, the parliament's debates will be healthy, the media in India will be free and fair, or freer and fairer, to advocate the rights of the poor, the farmers, the women, and the minorities. And across the society, there wouldn't be another prime minister who will think that creating a divisive agenda, a divisive agenda, or running a hateful campaign is a way to win elections in India.
So Ghanshyam, quickly, where do you think this leaves a movement for Hindu nationalism? Is it stopped in its tracks?
I think when the brand Modi has melted like ice cream on a hot summer day, the agenda of brand Modi has also melted. More than one religion's nationalism, the idea of nationalism in India is that youth must have jobs. Women must find the power to express themselves, rise in society, in politics, or in other realms of economic and other opportunities. The farmers must get the price that they deserve. The diversity in the country is a source of unity of the country that must be celebrated, and the minorities feel empowered the way the constitution empowers them. I believe that this is what is going to unfold, and in this unfolding, the idea of one leader, one religion, or one format of nationalism is going to melt away.
Okay, Sudhanshu, I know you've been eager to get in. Go right ahead.
No, but this is unfair because it was my chance, and if he's going to speak,
no, I'm going one at a time. I'm going one at a time.
No, but no, he got it twice. I hope you'll
She just got a follow-up question. It's timing. Please do go ahead.
No. The issue is, if the gory picture which is being painted by my worthy panelists was the truth, then the people would have voted for them. Why should they have voted for a Narendra Modi-led NDA? They have voted because this is not the truth. Let me explain this also, that BJP did not have, or the NDA did not have 400 seats. So the 10 years preceding these elections were with a majority, which was a functioning majority, as we have today also for the NDA. And if what they are wanting to say was a truth, then we would never have got the people's mandate. So this is an insult to the people's mandate. I expect my worthy colleagues to respect the mandate of people, to acknowledge that they have not been trusted. The trust has been reposed on Mr. Narendra Modi-led National Democratic Alliance. And that's the truth of democracy. It's the will of people. As far as what happens to Hindu nationalism or not, I mean, these are physiologies which have been rejected by people. There is nationalism. There's nothing known as Hindu nationalism. Every Indian is a nationalist. Every Indian reacts to Pakistan when they attack India. Every Indian reacts to the assault on the values of India by anybody. They all are protective of it. So there's nationalism. There's nothing known as Hindu nationalism. As far as secularism in this country is concerned, secularism means that there is going to be equality. There's going to be no differentiation between people on the grounds of religion. BJP and the NDA has never done that. Look at the governance of the country. In the 10 years, there's not been one instance which has been brought out by any political rival saying that the government of India has differentiated between a Hindu and a Muslim.
Okay.
No.
Let me get Lavanya's response then.
Allow me to finish.
I need to give everyone equal time, so we're watching the clock. Everyone gets the same turn.
Mr. Ghanshyam has got it thrice. I've just spoken twice.
No, he just had a follow-up question in a shorter answer. Lavanya, go ahead.
I would like to remind Sudhanshu Mittal ji of what happened in the last 10 years. He talks about how they have the people's mandate. No, sir, you do not have the magic number of 272 MP seats. You only have 240. It is only with the help of your allies that you will be reaching the magic numbers. So when you say Modi ji has got the mandate, let me make it very clear. Let me remind you, Modi ji also was trialing at one point during the counting. We do notice that it was less, his opponent from the Congress party was leading by 6,000 votes. So when you say people have accepted Modi ji as a third-time prime minister, I think it is a little bit of a fantasy, because people have objected, to what the BJP has done, and there has been suppression in India. Everybody, the world has seen how people were hounded and harassed in India while speaking for their rights. We have seen how our farmers who are protesting have been treated by the BJP. You cannot whitewash what has happened in the last 10 years and claim, hey, it was an utopia in India. Contrary to what you're saying, Mr. Mittal, there have been problems in the governance. It has been very poor governance by Mr. Narendra Modi, and BJP tried to make it like the American presidential elections. They always wanted one man from the panchayat elections to the national elections, where they claimed, hey, vote for Modi, vote for Modi. None of your MPs came seeking votes in the last two elections for the work they have done or for the work that they will do. They kept saying you should vote for Modi. Modi, of course, will not help local citizens when there are challenges here. So BJP makes tall claims, sir, which is not true always. I'm sure you will agree with me, Mr. Mittal. You're a very senior spokesperson of the BJP party, and there have been records of the BJP party finding fault with the term secular. BJP party made secular term a bad word in India.
Okay.
If you look at
I would like to get one last question in for Ghanshyam, because we're down to our less than 2 minutes left. So, Ghanshyam, I want to go back to the beginning here and ask you if there is a good enough understanding of where the Indian public really stands and how they feel, re-secularism, all the other issues we've addressed, because the polls got it quite wrong. I mean, we even saw one pollster crying on television for having gotten such poor projections that were so far off. Why is that? Is there a lack of understanding among how Indians feel, what they want, perhaps because the media, for example, isn't quite as free as you'd like to see?
When people try to hijack the media and they try to manipulate polls and pollsters to defy what the verdict of people is, this kind of miscalculations happen. Where India goes from here is into a powerful place. We go to a place where Mr. Modi, although throughout the election he campaigned that vote for Modi in a third person mode, he will have to depend on alliances to be able to get elected in the parliament or win the trust vote in the parliament. Where India stands is we will see a parliament that is more functional, which will run through the agendas of rights of people, rights of minorities, rights of farmers, and will focus on issues that are day to day rather than rhetorical or the grandstanding of one person.
Okay.
Where India goes from here is that the expression on the ground, the government which is elected, Mr. Modi is yet to win the trust of the parliament again, but should he win the trust of the parliament, I am sure that he is going to respect an average citizen, and his government is going to respect an average citizen, irrespective of their caste, color, creed, and religion, much more than he has in the past.
Okay. Sudhanshu Mittal, quick 30 seconds for your final thoughts.
The fact remains that all these allegations are preposterous. BJP went in the elections along with the allies in a pre-poll alliance. So we sought vote in the name of the NDA, and NDA has been voted to power. Now look at the semantics with which the entire debate is being addressed. It surprises me. Have respect for the mandate of people. People have given their mandate for a pre-poll alliance, and we've got the majority. The majority is 272. We've got 295. And for somebody to say we've got 240, no, we've got 295. And the entire strength of the opposition led by Indy is only 234, which is not even equivalent to what BJP is. So let's be realistic and let's not make false claims.
And that will have to be the final word for this edition of the Newsmakers. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I'd like to thank all three of my panelists so much for being with us, and our viewers, of course, for joining us as well. Remember, you can follow us on X, and do be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Andrea Sankey. We'll see you next time.